99.1 FM.
Furby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith, and in your headlines today, 1 month later, Minister Bharat mum on $9 billion payout audit. International consultant says clarity needed on gas generation capacity of Stabroek Block. Christopher Ram says asking questions is not anti-project. Contractor bids $10 million below engineers' estimate to extend boathouse. 7 homeless after Blairmont Blaze. $150 million lawsuit filed against lawyer who allegedly abused female cop. And foreigners using locals to get around local content regulations, according to Ramesh Duku. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Enjoy free premium access to D-Music from March 25th to 31st. Discover 60 million local and international songs. Get playlists specially made to match your flavor. You can even download your favorite songs and albums. Plus, enjoy Coffee and Shensia's new albums fresh out the studio with free 2 gigabytes of data for D-Music every day. From March 25th to 31st, listen anywhere, anytime. So, what are you waiting for? Download D-Music now.
And now for the news in detail. Despite time running out on Guyana to conduct the audit into ESSO's $9 billion payout exploration cost bill, Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat is silent on the government's progress of auditing and possibly rejecting unreasonable charges if found. Notably, if the 2-year deadline is prescribed in the Stabroek Block agreement passes and Guyana fails to audit the cost recovery bill, the country has no choice but to allow the oil company to recover $9 billion for its payout development project in the Stabroek Block without making any objection. Now, we had first reached out to Minister Bharat on February 25th in relation to the progress of the audit. He said that he was in a meeting at the office of the president, but contact can be made with him at 14 hours for an update. At 14 hours 30, we made several calls to the minister, but all went unanswered. The last of the numerous times we reached out to the minister yesterday afternoon, which is 1 month and 5 days since we had first reached out, Kaieteur contacted the minister again via WhatsApp for an update on the auditing of the $9 billion project. He responded shortly as saying that he was caught up with other matters. Kaieteur then pressed again on the matter, but he has not responded nor has he provided an update on the $9 billion payout audit. And moving on, with little information available to the public on the gas to energy project, which is now pegged at $1.3 billion, co-director of energy at America's Market Intelligence Arthur Deakin on Tuesday night during a panel discussion on the project was keen to note that while there is need for the project to come on stream, clarity is needed on the gas generation capacity of Guyana's largest oil reserve, the Stabroek Block. Other panelists on the Oil Now Gas to Shore discussion were chartered accountant and attorney-at-law Christopher Ram and financial analyst Joel Bagwandin. Deakin first stated that he is aware of the negotiations ongoing between the government of Guyana and ExxonMobil on the price of the gas and who is going to build the actual power plants. While noting that he believes that it was determined that Exxon would build a pipeline, Deakin pointed out that there still needs to be a request for proposal for who is going to build a power plant and a liquids facility. Deakin pointed out that it has been said that the power plant will produce 250 megawatts, but what is not known is how much of the gas can be piped out from the Liza 1 well to shore. As a result, he emphasized the importance of greater clarity on the issue, which he stated must be addressed. And now let's tell you, one of the two contractors vying for the contract to extend the customs boathouse at Stabroek bid $10 million lower than the engineer's estimated cost of $48.7 million. This is a project being undertaken by GRA. The companies that submitted bids to the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board to carry out the works at the boathouse are Memorex Enterprises with a bid of $43 million and Andre Vincent Construction Services with a bid of $10 million lower at $38 million. The opening of this project occurred on Tuesday at the NPTAB office. And moving on, a fire that was reportedly started by a 3-year-old on Wednesday morning has left 7 persons homeless in Blairmont, West Bank, Berbice. Reports are that the Guyana Fire Service responded to a call about a fire at Lot 135 Blairmont, No. 4 settlement around 9:17. According to the fire service, it was started by a child who was playing with a lighter that ignited a mattress on the bedroom. 22-year-old Sunita Ramutar is estimating $4 million in losses. Persons who are desirous of assisting Ramutar, who is the mother of a 5, 3, and a 2-year-old child along with a baby, can contact her on 660-7968. The number is 660-7968. Ramutar said that she had returned home from the clinic with her child when she found that the house was completely destroyed and nothing could be saved. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This is the news at noon. We will return shortly.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Days after she was reportedly assaulted and verbally abused by attorney-at-law Nirvan Singh, Shaunette Ballers, a special constable attached to the Guyana Police Force, has brought a $150 million lawsuit against him in her claim, filed by attorney-at-law UC Anderson. Ms. Ballers is suing for slander allegedly published orally by Mr. Singh last March 20th. She noted that the lawyer used racist and derogatory words to describe her. Ballers said that she was at the time operating on guard duties at the Middle and Cumming Streets Georgetown home owned by his father, Carl Singh, who is a retired chancellor of the judiciary. She alleged that at the time of the incident, Mr. Singh approached her and chased her out of her duties area and subsequently off the property, forcing her to abandon her post and duties for the said night. And moving on, less than a month after the Ministry of Natural Resources opened the local content register for Guyanese-owned companies to benefit from the oil and gas sector, foreigners are already finding ways to manipulate and undermine the system. This was highlighted by private sector executive Ramesh Duku. Duku noted that some foreign companies have begun manipulating systems put in place to ensure Guyanese benefit from oil proceeds under the new Local Content Act. He noted that the authority given to the Local Content Secretariat has to be deeper. Further, he added that over the past weeks, the issue was brought to his attention. And moving on, days after being appointed as Acting Commissioner of Police, Clifton Hicken has already begun to put his stamp on the force by making several changes in the senior management and command structure level of the Guyana Police Force. Former Commissioner of Police Mr. Nigel Hoppy proceeded on pre-retirement leave on Sunday, March 27th. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, Hicken moved Senior Superintendent R. Budram as head of the Special Branch and posted him to perform the functions of Deputy Commissioner Operations. Also, Senior Superintendent Errol Watts moved from Commander Police Regional Division No. 3 to head Special Branch. Senior Superintendent M. Sunarayan moved from Commander Police Regional Division No. 4B to Commander Police Regional Division 3. Woman Superintendent D. Griffith moved from Commander Police Regional Division No. 2 to Commander Police Regional Division No. 4B. Superintendent S. Bacchus moved from Force Training Officer to Commander Police Regional Division No. 2. In other news, the Civil Defense Commission, through the Government of Guyana and in collaboration with the National Oil Spill Committee, on Wednesday conducted a national oil spill response exercise in the form of a command post and field tactical exercise. This activity signaled the end of a series of training and workshops, which began in September of 2021 as part of the national oil spill response effort. It must be noted that despite these activities, Guyana is yet to secure full coverage insurance from ExxonMobil in the event of an oil spill here. Since 2015, ExxonMobil Corporation, the parent company of Esso, has steered clear of being tied to full coverage insurance for its Stabroek Block projects, which are certain to deliver multi-billion-dollar profits on an annual basis. The debate over Guyana's desire to give its people first jump in certain business areas within the oil and gas sector is one that should not be happening, since it is expected that any country would give its citizens some type of preference to ensure they benefit fully from their natural resources. They need to make the local content document law to convince citizens that their government has them in mind. This is a terrible sign regarding trust between the state and its citizens. This is according to economist Professor Clive Thomas, who said that Guyana has now placed itself in a position to be challenged for introducing the law that weakens the right to competition. Thomas offered that he felt the local right should have been placed into existing policies. In other news, the contribution of taxes from the self-employed does not seem to represent what can be considered fair, and this is reflected in the Auditor General 2017 report. According to the report, over the years, GRA has experienced difficulties in having delinquent self-employed persons comply with the requirements of the Income Tax Act. As of December 31st, 2017, there were 105,522 active registered self-employed persons in the revenue database, of which only 17% of the active registrants filed returns. Head of the authority, Godfrey Stacia, noted that the authority has adopted a risk management approach to prioritize the high-risk taxpayers with great revenue implications. And now we wrap things up with the page 7 of today's Kaieteur News. Room for civil society. No government or elected body is answerable to itself. Civil society makes up citizenry from all walks of life. They ask the hard questions that ensure politicians keep to the straight and narrow. Civil society is generally the group that will conduct the peer review assessments that let citizens know what their leaders have been up to. It is their job to be informed and to keep others informed. So, when a country votes a government in place, it expects that government will respect and provide space for the concerns of civil society. It expects that civil society will not be shut out from information classified as valuable, while the majority of citizenry sits ignorantly and with mistrust. The government of Guyana cannot use confidentiality and value to shut citizens out on information that ultimately determines their future, that of their children, future generations, as well as that of the country. The government of the day does not have the full confidence of all the people and is not afforded the luxury of leading without oversight. And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
It's Thursday, March 31st. It's the last day of March. It's the end of the first quarter, and the time has flown. I'm GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1, 99.5 FM. Welcome to the National Outlook. Trade unions see bigger role in building oil and gas economy. Slam Labour Minister's critique of their usefulness. You know, my brothers and sisters, I can't believe what happened did happen. I can't believe that the Honourable Minister of Labour in a PPP government could have actually had the audacity, the crassness to go out and say that labour unions have outlived their usefulness. Let me take a step back and take you along with me. How do we think that Chedi Jagan rose to prominence in this country? It's on the backs of workers, primarily sugar workers. His closest allies were people in the trade union movement, the TUC. He had his differences with them over the years, but they were part of the backbone of his political thrust, his political rise. Let's not forget that. So for one of his political descendants to come out and say trade unions have outlived their usefulness and they need to modernize, what does he actually mean there? What does he mean about modernize? We are grappling, as Gawu said, with a brand new set of realities, oil and gas. We don't know much about that. We don't have labor laws crafted along those lines. So we're building from scratch. But trade unions, in my book, as Gawu said, and I'm sure the other unions will take serious offense, they have their role to play, and it's a bigger role. It's not a lesser role. It's not a more limited role. I'm asking myself whether Exxon and the other oil powers, particularly Exxon, and all those foreign businesses come here, already have a problem with a visible and vocal trade union movement. When we talk about overtime not being paid, our workers being treated like dogs, our fellow Guyanese being treated like second-class citizens in their own space. What does this say about the need for a trade union? If we don't have trade unions, then what are these guys going to do? They're going to drive over us. They're going to spit on us. And they're going to get away with it because our political leaders in the government will let them do that. Is this what they put the minister up to do? Is he speaking for somebody? Is he parroting what was passed on from Exxon to the top leaders in the PPP, and they pass it on to him and said, hey, go out and crack the whip on the unions? Nothing sounds far-fetched or should sound far-fetched in this country. This is the way government operates behind the scenes. And the Honourable Minister of Labour could be the fall guy for this. I'm glad that the unions confronted him. They need to get into his face and teach him some lessons about the role of the trade union movement in this country and its importance to the progress of this country, oil and gas, or oil and no gas. I'm GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Thank you for listening to the National Outlook.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Fellow Guyanese, after the newscast at 12 noon every day, I am dedicating some clips with extremely important information pertaining to Guyana's future. Please, I beg you, take some time and listen to them. It is for your interest and future generations. This is a message from Glenn Lal saying thanks for listening to the Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Insurance is extremely important. He said it's a toolkit every citizen, every home, every businesses should and must have. He said this at a function he attended last week. He was appealing to the local citizens to consider investing in insurance since it is a vital part of any company, household, or citizens. He said it's a risk management toolkit. Everyone should have, must have. You hear that, brothers and sisters? Insurance is a vital management toolkit. Wow. Those were his words, Guyana. So let me ask this. Do we have that vital insurance toolkit with ExxonMobil, Hess and CNOOC oil companies, Dr. Singh? We don't. Why not? We need to know, every citizen of this land needs to know why we don't have that toolkit from Exxon and the rest of the oil companies. Guys, Dr. Singh say many Guyanese fail to recognize the importance of insurance and believe they can do without it. But on the contrary, he sees it as an important toolkit to benefit from should a calamity occur. I thought these people were stupid, but these people have great wisdom. What he said about insurance there, I think he was born in an insurance home all his life because he was so eloquent in presenting that fact. I believe he should change his profession and be the best insurance guru in Guyana rather than just a finance minister. And we would have certainly had that insurance from all those oil companies. You hear them? Them talk one thing and do the opposite when it comes to protecting us. Yes, the Guyanese people. Where is the insurance toolkit from the oil people, Dr. Singh? Does Guyana have it to protect us if and when a disaster strikes? This country needs answers, my brother. And from all our leaders, we need answers to that. Dr. Singh talked about insurance, what every Guyanese should and must have. But when it comes to this type, the oil insurance, we ain't hearing nothing. Nothing whatsoever from Dr. Singh. I wonder why. Guyanese lives doesn't matter? Or are we animals? You need to let us know, Dr. Singh. You tell people insurance is so important that every household and businesses must have it to secure themselves. You said every Guyanese got to get insurance in case of death and disability. But when it comes to the biggest disaster that can happen overnight out there with the oil, that can destroy all of us, including our neighboring countries, you guys ain't saying a single word, doctor. How come? What's going on? Tell us something. Tell us why we don't have full cover insurance after Exxon and the rest of the oil companies agreed 2 years ago to sign the legal document giving us full cover insurance so it can protect Guyana and all our neighboring countries. Where is that document? You get it yet, doctor? Guyana get it? Where is Mr. Jagdev and Mr. Harmon and Mr. Granger and the others? Where are their voices? Guyana, we are not hearing anything from them. That is what those words came out of the mouth of Dr. Singh. Guys, what Dr. Singh should have used as an example at that function. If Guyana is destroyed, who will take care of us?